one of my mandates, and in my manifesto in the agenda, I had one of the programs which was improving the governance and digitalizing Uganda Youth Football Association activities, including academies. And in one of those, we wanted to do capacity building, which we have achieved today, and it has been one of its kind in the history of Uganda Youth Football Association, because it has never been done. And why do we decide to do this under Fufa? We found out that many of the regulations that have been produced by Fufa, academies have nothing like information about them. So we needed sensitization to send out the executive, the coordinators, the subcommittees down to the academy levels to transfer this information for academies to understand their mandates, and for us as an association to portray our mandate out there to the stakeholders of youth football to know how can they benefit from youth football, how can they benefit from the database, how can they benefit from academy registration and licensing under the Fufa programs. Any academy to be licensed by Fufa or to be recognized a licensed academy under the Fufa Youth Development Program has to go through processes, and one of them, you have to register with Uganda Youth Football Association, and then from there you will be forwarded to Fufa for licensing. And even after licensing, you'll be mandated for supervision and checks and balances under Uganda Youth Football Association. We had 13 executive members and 41 coordinators and subcommittee chairpersons that have been part of this capacity building today. And this was conducted by the Fufa Development Deputy CEO, Mr. Kiza Dikoras, and Mr. Lukambi, Council Lukambi, the Fufa League Officer, Youth Development Officer or Manager, Mr. Mutiawa Bashir, and then the IT person, that is Mr. Kazola, to take us through database management, player development, player registration through the system, and what it takes for academies to register their players onto the database and the Fufa Connect system. One of the important corporate governance procedures and how to achieve corporate governance or corporate status for any institution is to work on governance principles. And when you work on governing principles, when you have strategic goals and objectives, at the end of the day you will achieve. So one of the issues of development for youth is governance, lacking governance principles and governance structures. So I wanted to work on this to make sure we improve on the leadership for the association.
One of Fufa's programs of ensuring that we develop the game, especially youth football in particular. We've designed different activities that we believe if implemented, the game will develop. And one of the programs that we are going to undertake is the reorganization of football academies in Uganda. The academies have been put a task to fulfill the academy regulations that were published recently to ensure that the players we develop and produce are able to compete at the international stage. And one of the key areas that the academies have to put into place, the governance structure, the sporting element, the kind of coaches, the kind of teachers they need to employ, the facilities that the players have to be exposed to in order to create a conducive environment for the players learning during training and during competitive matches. One of the intentions of its publication is to ensure that we come up with a philosophy or an identity of Uganda as a nation, the kind of football that we want to play, the kind of players that we need to play the kind of football that we shall have established, the kind of coaches that we need, and by doing so, the only way we can put the curriculum into life is by focusing on youth football and coach education. That is why we want all academies that will have been licensed by Fufa to ensure that they implement the player development curriculum, so that we are able to achieve our vision of being the #1 football nation in Africa on and off the field of play.